So good morning, everybody. This morning on our Daily Digest, I found a really awesome article that I got this morning that I thought I would share with you, and it is on the secret sauce of top producers. It was an Inman article, but it was published by a woman whose name is Bernice Ross, and I've worked with her. She's done really great surveys. She does a lot of information and a lot of surveys on all sorts of things kind of going on out there. And when she gets her research, she really thinks about it and really does a really good job with it. So she just wrote this article, kind of came out this morning, and it says, do you want to be a top producer? It says she steal these 6 moves from their playbook. And I just thought they were just really interesting. So the number one thing that it comes down to is 7 hours a week. Just 7 hours a week. And one of the things I know that when I talk to people who've maybe left the business, they're not having a good business, they're thinking about leaving the business, is the one question I like to ask them and say is, did you work a 40-hour work week? Because that's the alternative, right? The alternative is I've got in this profession, I get to be flexible. Maybe I'm working 80 hours a week. I'm really hustling in real estate. But then when you're not, then the question is, did you work a 40-hour work week? And scheduling becomes such a critical piece of that. So what were the top things? Again, they're a little bit smaller than you might think. The number one thing is the top producers always focus on is they're generating leads, they're converting leads, and they're closing transactions. So yesterday I had a conversation with an agent who's new to get in the business, and we were talking about the fact of reaching out. And she said, I keep reaching out and I'm got to figure out who's going to, buy things. And I said, here's the deal. If you reach out to 10 people and one person says they're going to buy, that's great. But you can't necessarily convince the other 9 to buy. The other 9 may not be ready to buy it right now. They may not be ready to list and sell right now. Now, there's 2 things you can do with those other 9. You can try to get them to refer people to you, so you can focus now on them referring to you, which then is going to keep your top of mind awareness and get them to try to convert those leads, right, and try to turn them into buyers and sellers. Or you've got to focus and you've got to find 10 more people, knowing that only one of them may be that buyer. So you got to keep adding to that puzzle. And so generating leads, converting leads, and then closing transactions. And gosh, we've seen some agents who put things under contract and sometimes just don't be able to convert things. It definitely means. So RedX, it's the past 10 years, RedX has done a survey from different people. And so the difference between people who make $250,000 a year versus those who make $70,000 a year is pretty small. And Curtis Finn, he is the president of RedX, who did the survey that Bernice was reporting on. So for the 250,000 and up, keep in mind that is only 6% of our entire industry. They are the unicorns. If that is you, you are a unicorn. If your GCI is 250,000 or up, you're a unicorn in this business. So it's only 6% of our industry who does that. 100%. When is the last time you saw a survey with 100% had written goals, and a written business plan? So 100% of those people, 250,000. So just for that one factor alone, writing goals down, visualizing the goals down, understanding the goals is going to help get you to a higher level. $250,000 producers prospected an average, okay, get this, an average of 4.6 days per week. So every day they're focusing on prospecting at least 90 minutes a week. It was 6.9 average hours per week on average, but at least 90 minutes a week they were prospecting. So every week they were prospecting. And here's the other thing, 81% of them uses a script. And if you remember Howard Britton, longtime trainer in this industry, one of the things I love that he said everybody has a script. It just depends upon whether or not yours is a good one. So even if a top producer doesn't have that script written down, it is likely that there is something that comes out of their mouth every single time that they say it, and they're perfecting it, and they're practicing it, and practicing it. So if you don't feel like you've got those scripts down, it's something to continue to keep working on. And I always brag on Ted Weber with this one when we talk about scripts and we talk about some different things, because when Ted got into this business, one of the things that he did before he got into this business is he listened to one of his mentors, Sharon Keating, down in Jefferson City, and she said, just keep listening to the scripts, listening to the dialogues. And Ted came into this business for I think it was 6, 8, maybe even 8 months. He'll be able to tell you. He listened to these scripts and dialogues, and he came in as a brand new agent, and amazing words were coming out of his mouth, these amazing scripts. I'm not even sure he knew what they meant, but my gosh, could he say it, and could he say it well, because he had listened to this dialogue over and over and over and over and over again, and now it started to come out of his mouth and sounded really good. And so you can see how that helped to kick off his business. Now, on the contrast, the people who earned $70,000 or more per year earners, or $70,000 per year, compared to the $250,000 per year, only 82% of them had written goals versus 100% for the top producers, and only 66% had a written business plan. This is what we do in Spark every year, guys. This is what we do in our business blast every year, and do that, as we kind of wrap up the end of the year to kind of do that. And we've got samples of this available in the digital section and the download section of our website, so you can certainly check this. $70,000 a year per earners, they prospected 3.5 days a week, so that's down from top producer, on an average of 60 minutes. So that was a little less. So the difference between earning, get this, the difference between earning $70,000 and $250,000 is a written business plan and is 3.5 more hours a week of prospecting. 3.5 more hours a week. So can you find 3.5 more hours a week of prospecting to fit that in your business? And consequently, the first two steps to becoming a top producer: written business plan, prospecting a week for 90 in at least 90 days. So in that business plan, you can talk about, what do you want to do daily? What do you want to do annually? What do you want to do weekly and monthly? Kind of screwed that one up, right? So daily, weekly, monthly, annually. How are you going to win the day? What are your personal priorities going to be? What are your business priorities going to be? I think sometimes when we talk about business planning, we're always talking about, like, what are we going to do with just our business? But certainly as realtors, we're much more holistic in our approach to that, and need to be, because even putting your personal goals on this plan then allows you that personal time to know that, okay, I've got that covered, so it's not weighing on you that you're not doing the personal goals, and then that helps you achieve business goals. And certainly by achieving your personal goals, then also sets the framework for then to achieve business goals. And as you're setting those goals, again, what are other things that top producers do? They write down big annual goals. They focus on their why, what is driving them to do that. So there's a purpose for everything that they do. And then, take that goal and then double it. Try to double it. And what happens when you double it? There's a great technique when you're talking about, like, how much do you want to earn? And if you said, okay, look, I want to earn $100,000, add a zero to the end of that. And then think about how that shifts in your mind. And it is amazing how your mind will shift in the different things that you think of. When you just add a zero, when you allow yourself to go in that space and think, if that was a reality, what would I do? Because it expands your mind to such a different place. The other thing that top producers do, they know their numbers. They absolutely know their numbers. And we talked about this earlier. You've got to know your numbers so that you have a business, an actual business, which then allows you to sell it when you do, and you want to reap the benefits of this business that you're building so that you can sell it and transition it to someone else. But if you don't know your numbers, you don't have that. So average sales price, average cost per transaction. What does it cost you as far as the expenses that you go? This is going to give you serious motivation to not cut the commissions, because it proves the value and shows what your value is. Where are your leads originated? Are you tracking that so you know where you can lean into? And then how many leads does it take to generate a closed transaction? What is the percentage numbers of there? And if you don't have those numbers, start tracking them. Start tracking them now. Planning your day. Where is the magic going to happen? Each day, remember 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And this is, I'm reading off the survey here. What are top producers doing? They're scheduling 3 personal activities that you're going to engage, that are going to help and support, keeping you happy, right? Keeping you healthy, keeping you helpful, building that connection to the community, your health, their well-being, your connection to your family, friends, and your loved ones, your community. That's one of the first things they do. They schedule 3 personal activities and then treat those personal appointments the same way you would treat a listing appointment. Don't cancel them under any circumstances, and just kind of readjust your schedule. When you get that scheduled, then you kind of know. Next, record the most three. What are the 3 most important actions that you can take every day to improve your business? Well, we know what the most important thing is: setting your goals. Setting your goals for the day. That action alone, setting your goals for the day and taking the time to do that, becomes an extremely critical action. But then also scheduling the time for prospecting. Schedule in the time for prospecting. Try to do it at least 90 minutes a day. See if you can get to that. And then call your past clients in sphere and stay in contact. Pull up their Facebook page. What are they doing? What just happened in their life? That's great. If you have a new listing, call the 50 people who are around that listing and invite them to come attend an open house. Ask them if they want more information. When that reticular activator kicks in and we know that we're sitting there and we know that they've seen a sign in the yard, they're thinking all sorts of things. 1, my neighbor has their house for sale. 2, who's going to be our new neighbors? And not in this order, right? Number 1, they see the sign and they think they're selling their house. I wonder how much my house is worth. So they want to know. Now's the perfect time to reach out to them and say, would you like me to do an analysis on what your house is going to sell for if you wanted to ever sell it? Or what I think it's valued at right now. I'll do a CMA for you, right? An annual home report. Remember, we call it an annual home report. Samples are in the download section so that you can do that as well. Call your past clients, call your sphere, stay in contact with them, call those 50 people around the open house, the house that's listed. Statistics are going to say that 1 in 10 of those houses is going to list in the next 9 months or 6 months because they've seen the sign in the yard. So have that listing be with you. And then eat the frog. Eat the frog, or get the monkey off your back. That's another way to say this. Get the monkey off your back, eat the frog. What is the hardest, ugliest task that you have to do today? Tackle that first. If you do the hard things first, the easy stuff becomes easy. If you don't do the hard things, all the easy stuff becomes hard. So tackle that big frog first, check it off your list. And then as you go to bed each night, schedule what are you going to do in the morning? What are things? I keep a little journal. Here's a little journal that I do, and I kind of write notes of even what I'm going to talk about the next day with you, because I just can't come up with this stuff every day. I have to plan it. I have to think about what are we going to do. Now, this morning, I happened to get this in my inbox. I was like, yeah. So now I've got my topic all ready to go for tomorrow, which again just gives you a little peace of mind because you're scheduling your activities. You know what your to-do list is going to look like tomorrow. Microsoft has a great to-do list, which an app which integrates with Outlook. So a lot of Outlook to-do lists out there. So focusing on your strengths. Other things top producers do, they focus on their strengths. They lean into it. They know it. Those core lead generation activities. No one ever got to the top by focusing on their weaknesses. So know your strengths, be proud of them, share them, right? Apply the 80-20 rule. Another big tip, this is part of our big 6 tips that top producers do. Apply the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your income is going to result in the top 20% of your activities. So if you want to increase your income to create more time on your schedule, drop the bottom 20% of your activities, that aren't going to happen out there, and devote 80% of your time to those top 3 resources. And then other characteristics of a top producer, all right? Now this is a study that was conducted by the Texas Realtors, which are the most predictive indicators of whether or not an agent is going to succeed in real estate. So do you have a learning mindset? And are you consistently in search of new ways to better yourself? Tomorrow, Katie Lance, we've got a session on social media. Are you learning? Are you growing? Are you tending to that garden in your mind? Are you finding different ways that you can do that? Are you learning and improving yourself, and which ways that you can do that? So do you have a continuous learning mindset? Do you have adequate financial reserves? Because things are going to shift and change in this business. So there's a big one, especially now knowing that 80% of all realtors are going to phase out in the first 5 years of them joining the industry. So we're going to try to make sure that doesn't happen to you if you're brand new. And then are you emotionally resilient? And this kind of comes into that emotional intelligence factor, which is one of the new boot camps with Momentum that we'll be talking about in fall that Remax has put together with the Momentum program, that emotional intelligence, emotionally resilient. Are you optimistic? Can you handle conflict well? There's a guy named Greg McDaniel, and he likens this to kind of being like a boxer. You take a punch, you get knocked down, but can you get back up again? Sue McKee or Sue Cunningham, one of the things she always said, and she was a great top producer, she always said, it's like a bag of potatoes. I will carry it around if I'm mad, if I'm upset, if something went bad. I'm going to carry it around for 24 hours, and then after 24 hours, it rots, and I want it off my back. So, find that way, and I always think about that. I'm like, I got 24 hours to be mad, to sulk, and then move on, keep going. Be persistent. What else do top producers do? They be persistent. When a potential client decides not to work with them, they actively prospect for other clients to take their place. There's now a hole. So now do I find that hole? When you can't open up and knock on doors. What do? You start holding Zoom open houses. That was the most amazing thing about this pandemic is realtors will change on a dime if they know it can benefits their business, and top producers just jump all over that. And so you guys were amazing at that, just jumping all over that and being resilient and persistent and trying to find new ways. And then the other thing is think outside of the box. Top producers have a learning mindset, so they're also the early adapters who experiment with the new technologies and just play. And remember, I talked about this with Instagram. It's like, if you have to spend an hour on Instagram figuring it out, don't think of that as a waste of time. Think of that as playing and new ways to build your business and looking at marketing and doing analysis on other people that are out there. And it also means that you're willing to think about ideas that you wouldn't normally think about. Maybe things that other people aren't doing in the marketplace. If other people aren't doing them, but it maybe is a proven successful strategy someplace else, it's just because no one else has had the guts. And you know what? Top producers go out there and they have the guts, they do it, they become the first mover. So don't wait for someone else to do it. Get out there and do it. Go to your favorite restaurant. If they run out of coasters, go buy them coasters. My grandmother used to take pens and take them to restaurants, and then everybody takes the pen, of course, when they sign it, or everybody looks at the pen, little things like that. And then how do you create memorable experiences? Experience is one of our words. How do you empower people in their transaction? How do you create these memorable experiences and great customer service? Knowing and honoring your agent's time and knowing that is a sensitive part of the process. Becoming human. Share your information. Guess what top producers do? They share information about themselves. They share their smile online. They share their face online. People like to see faces. People like to see people. I know some of you are still scared of that, of like, I don't want to put myself out there. That feels weird. But become human. Share the things that you're doing. And I'm, so proud and seeing some different things that people are doing, and they're just starting to post a little bit more. And then some of you think they're just posting too much and they're way out there, but people love to see your face and they love to see their smile and they love to know about your personal interests and what you're doing. And if you're excited about something, if you're excited about gardening, it's likely maybe someone else who's excited about gardening. If you love a new book and someone else has read that book, they're going to comment online. So share the different things that you're doing and talking about and learning and doing different things. So these are the top tools of a top producer. They're the top things that you can do when you're out there and how to grow your business. These are proven strategies, and you know what? Nothing in here is magic. Nothing in here is hard, but it's hard to do sometimes, right? There's nothing in here that every single one of you can't do. It's whether or not you have the strength to do it. It's whether or not you have the discipline to do it, and then whether or not you have kind of the courage to do that. So I'm going to send out this article. I'm going to email this out so you can not only see the tips on that as well, and I'll reference that. We talked about this in the video, or in the video this morning. And there's also a video that kind of goes along with this that you might talk about, where Bernice is interviewing someone else, and they're sharing and they're talking about their thoughts and their discussions on this topic as well. So it is Wednesday, August 26th. I hope you're ready to have a great day and have a lot of energy and share all of your love with the world. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.